Class number 2, we're going to move some energy. All right. So first, everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything is electrons and atoms and neutrons and spinning cells and all of the stuff. Like your energy, your table is energy. We are communicating through energy. Everything is energy. God is a mind consciousness of energy. And we are all created from this energy, every living thing. Now, the cool thing about energy is that no energy is able to die. Like you cannot kill energy. It is not possible. It is eternal. It is everlasting. It is everlasting life energy is. But we can transmute it and we can get rid of it. We can shift it and move it. So what happens when energy gets stuck like a rock? Do I have a rock around here? Like a rock, right? It's hard and it's stuck like a rock, or like mud. When we're in unforgiveness, we turn into these hard rocks. We turn into these mud. And eventually it creates inflammation. It creates dis-ease. It creates disorder. It creates confusion as we're just feeling powerlessness in this unforgiveness. So today I want to teach you a bit about moving energy, about the 7 layers or chakras in your body or nerve bundles through your spine in your nervous system that you are going to get to play with and learn about as we walk through the forgiveness practice. And you've already written down everything on your list of the events that you want to forgive, the unforgivable things that you want to forgive. You recognize what energy they have taken from you, like what's held hostage, what's stuck, what's in this rock position, this unforgive position. And you also figure out like where you're putting this on yourself and the self-blame. And this is kind of where you're in the mud and you're kind of stuck in the mud. You're moving a little bit because it's yours, but it just feels like you can't quite get there. It's hopelessness, it's depression, right? It's anxiety sometimes because you feel like sometimes you're in quicksand. How can you forgive yourself for being so whatever that judgment was? We're going to move that energy. So the next thing in this process is, what is energy? So energy is literally energy, right? It is emotion. Energy in motion is energy. So it's emotion. And the emotion of forgiveness is love and wholeness. It's forgiving. So it's yours for giving out, and it's theirs to give to you. And when we're in unforgiveness, it's kind of switched. They're holding something of yours, that's your energy, and or you're holding something of theirs, that's their energy. So when you can give them back their energy and you can reclaim, which you don't even need their permission, it's yours. So when you reclaim your energy, then you're going to have the freedom, the movement, do what you want with your own energy, right? To forgive again, to give it again and give it again and give it again and give it again. And so how do we give? And there's different elements to giving. The first is we have each chakra. We have the crown chakra, we have the third eye, we have the throat, we have the heart, we have the solar plexus, we have the gut energy of second chakra, and the first chakra is the base chakra, kind of down by your perineum and inner thighs. So this is literally where your nerve bundles are in your body. So it's where the biggest nerve comes down into the body. It connects with all of your connective tissue in your emotional body. It literally is the housing of your physical body. Now, it's very popular. They're called chakras in the Eastern philosophies, and in Western philosophies, they're called nerve bundles. Either way, we can work them. You are not powerless with them. They're a part of conscious creation, and you are creation. You are consciousness. So we're going to talk about how forgiveness is going to work here. And I'm going to just explain briefly about the chakras. If you want to know a deeper set about the chakras, I want to encourage you to take my class, Amazing Magnitude. So Amazing Magnitude is, you're going to learn all about the chakras. We do restorative yoga. You learn about manifesting and working this energy. bigger than even on a forgiveness level. We're going to get really focused on the forgiveness level. So the first chakra is all about safety and security and your roots. It's about family. So if you were abused by family members, if this is in-house kind of stuff, you might have a little disconnect here. It also is where we hold guilt. Now, with energy, especially when we're children and we are the world, right? We are the world. Oftentimes our abuser will abuse us. We will feel their energy, take on their energy, their negativity, their nastiness, their dis-ease, right? Being pedophiles, or anything else. I just work with a lot of people that have that experience. And so we take that on as ourselves. And so this is what I call false guilt. And being able to clear this false guilt is really important. So the first place in the first chakra you're going to explore in relationship to whatever you put on that list, where are you holding any false guilt where it's they're guilty? Like they're the ones that hurt you. They're the ones that did it, not you, but you're still holding on to it. Like it's your responsibility to change, fix, or do something about it. It's your responsibility to make them see how they've hurt you, to convince them how they've hurt you. You're still feeling guilty about hurting their feelings or going no contact or not talking to them. Were you holding any guilt there, whether it's your self-expression or you're holding on to their guilt? And see if you can separate that a little bit. We're going to be clearing this in our live session. The second chakra is all about shame. So shame is really about I am. So and it's stuff that you create. So say that you have guilt about getting in a car accident and hurting somebody in the car in front of you. And you have some shame because if you weren't driving so fast, you wouldn't have gotten in that car accident. And this might be rightful shame. So sometimes it is a shame that is yours, that you forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know, for going out, for making a no decision or rash decision, for being influenced by somebody or something, right? And you're forgiving yourself for that. Those I am statements are shame. So guilt is I did something and shame is I am something. Also, look at in the situation that you're going into forgiveness, like what shame are they putting on you, right? Did your mom, dad, brother, sister, ex, did they hurt you in some way that made you think, well, maybe you were something I'm ashamed of, like I'm not skinny enough, I'm not sexy enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not what all these enoughness, right? Those are the shame, the second chakra shame that we're going to be clearing. The third chakra is on the solar plexus. This is really, it affects your breath and it affects your personal I am, right? So the guilt and the shame kind of stack up and that's keeping us stuck. And then we have this I am, this is the definitive decision about yourself. And oftentimes it is related to just feeling like you are filled with anxiety. So anxiety comes up when you have this shame and this guilt, right? And you can't do anything about it. And so one of the biggest reliefs about forgiveness and this forgiveness practice is actually relieving anxiety. So what are your fears? What is your anxiety around this situation? What are you holding on to? Because we're going to release that energy in it. And as soon as you get clear on these things, you're going to be like, oh, well, you're going to already start feeling this shift as you walk through this master series, the shift of what is, what's true and what's not, what you're anxious about or not. And anxiety looks like I'm worried that it will happen again. I'm worried that I will fall for it again. It's a worry usually, and it's usually projected into the future. You're worried about their feelings. You might be giving them all of your power. You might be forgiving them your power, giving them your power, and you might need to call that power back. So you're not worried about their feelings or how they're going to handle it, or if you'll ever talk to them again or not, especially if you're going no contact with an abuser, which again, has classes for you if you're going through this trauma healing. So if it doesn't apply to you, I just ask for you to just see the whole picture in it. And it usually resides in digestive issues. Okay, so the next is here in your heart center. Oh, and the heart center is grief. So where do you feel sadness or grief about the situation? What did you lose in the situation? What did you what was taken from you that you have grief over? It could be your innocence, it could be love, it could be attention, it could be a connection with a person, right? Are you allowing yourself to grieve? This is the heart chakra energy. We're going to be moving out the emotion of grief in here to release that grief. So write down in your journal, like, what grief is there? Do you have any grief about that? What are you grieving in it? Are you grieving the loss of yourself? Are you grieving the loss of the relationship? Are you grieving the loss of somebody or something? Even abundance and money can be a part of this grief, or even your connection with God. I know the last time that I was raped, I spent years feeling that deep connection to my intuition and my self-trust, because I didn't listen to my intuition. I didn't listen to the signs from my angels. I didn't listen to all the chaos that was happening that night trying to get me out of the situation. And I literally walked myself into it. I had a hard time forgiving myself for that. And then I grieved the loss of my deep connection with God and spirit, which has shifted. It's changed. It's different now. It's still deep, and even maybe even more so deep, but it's more internal and less external now that I've done this forgiveness practice on this. So you're gonna shift that relationship within you. The next chakra is your throat chakra, and it is really about your willpower, and it also holds your insecurity. So this is when you don't speak about it. So what have you held in? What I want to recommend for this throat chakra practice today is for you to literally blackout journal. The blackout journal is a form of journaling that I encourage my clients to do. And it is a full expression. This is like the fuck you, how dare you, the judgments, the anything unspoken, anything unsaid. And why it's called blackout journaling is because you're going to write on one particular page in your journal, and you're going to write over your own writing. And so you cannot read it anymore. You are literally blacking it out. You are deleting it and transmuting it and transcending it. Your words have power. But when we hold back our words, when we play nicey with people, when we accept the unacceptable, when we self-blame, when we hold all this stuff in and pretend like everything's okay, it creates that muddy, stuck feeling, right? So what I want you to do is take out your journal and just black out journal about that situation, anything that you've said, anything that you've wanted to say, anything that you've held back saying, any personal judgments, anything, the bullshit, the lies, the BS, right? The what the fucks, all of that. Just journal it out until you feel complete, until all of this is removed. That's going to open up space for you to reclaim your energy and really receive it. The next chakra here is your third eye. So your third eye is all about visualization. It's all about seeing and all about understanding. So this is really about creating ideas and vision. For many people stuck in unforgiveness, it's hard for you to see the future. You don't know what you want. You can't imagine anything. This is that stuck, stagnant, icky feeling. And so what I want to encourage you to do here is begin journaling about if you had freedom here, if this no longer was an issue, if you were no longer holding on to the guilt or the shame or the anxiety or the grief or the insecurity, what would your life look like? What would it be about? And also, this is going to bring up like the ideas that you have about yourself, right? These self judgments that you have about yourself because of said event. So what judgments do you have about yourself that you're ready to let go of? You're ready to forgive back to God, source, the person that gave them to you. What belief systems do you have around it? What are you ready to completely let go of? And the last chakra is your crown chakra. And it is really about your connection to God, source. So this is healing your connection, your forgiveness with God and source. This is healing your worthiness. This is healing your own soul. So we're going to be doing a little soul feeding in here where you're going to call back your energy. Call back your energy. So what is yours will always be yours. What is yours will always be yours. It might go away. You might lend it out. You might give it to somebody else, including God, but it's always yours. God gave you a piece of his soul, her soul, right? And that piece is always yours, whether you're encapsulated in this body, I believe, whether you're encapsulated in this body or you pass away, right? Before you were born. And that piece of consciousness, this piece of consciousness that is you, will always be you. But we give pieces of ourselves away. People take pieces of ourselves, right? When they get stolen, they get taken. So in this practice, you're going to call back all the pieces of yourself that you know of, that you don't know of, especially around this event or this thing that you are forgiving, or a couple things that you're choosing to forgive, and do this work individually on each thing that you want to forgive, and come back and do this work as many times as you want as things come up in your life to forgive. And you're going to call back that energy, and that consciousness of that oneness, of that presence that you are with God. You are love. You are complete. You are there. And that is lesson 2. There's a lot of homework in here. I'm going to give you that time to do the homework before we meet and do our live event. If you are seeing the replay of this, then you are going to get access to that live event. What I ask is that you do all of this work in your journals, with journaling work, to prepare yourself for the biggest and most energy moved in that healing practice. And I will talk to you in lesson 3.